So we got over $27,000 in new revenue from this YouTube video, but not from this YouTube video. So just let me explain. I know you're probably making the same face that my parents make when I explain to them how we make money on YouTube, because that money doesn't come from AdSense. It doesn't come from sponsorships like most people think. It comes from a simple system that turns YouTube videos into digital product sales. Now, before you run off, I know I'm talking about digital products here, but it's something that you're going to want to be able to hear, because I know that this works. I know that this is still a real thing, because over the last 7 years, my wife and I have tried pretty much every single other way that there is to be able to make money online. We've sold $1 digital wall art on Etsy. We've sold physical products on Amazon. It's like these baby car seat covers that you take and you put them over your baby's car seats to keep dirt and dust out of them. I've done brand deals and sponsorships and tried to be a full-time influencer. I've had Top Ramen pay me money to be able to eat their food. I've been paid by like Nike and Adidas to wear their clothes. Haley's even been in Parents Magazine, and she had like an entire crew sent out to her to be able to take pictures on our house to be featured in this magazine and obviously be paid for it. Now, some of those things, they worked okay, but none of them were as consistent, predictable, or scalable as what we do now. And so if I had to start over from scratch today, making money on YouTube, this is exactly the strategy that I would use. If we haven't met yet, how's it going? My name is Doug, and my wife Haley and I run a YouTube-based business where we actually teach people how to be able to grow their channels and sell digital products such as courses, coaching programs, or even memberships. And this system that we teach them, which is actually going to be the same system that I teach you guys today, is what we used to be able to quit our jobs. Now we homeschool our kids. We have 5 of them. We get to be very present with our kids. I don't have to be gone at an office for 50, 60, or 70 hours a week. So if that's something that you want to be able to do, I also have a masterclass that's going to walk you guys through exactly what we do, like in way more detail. It's over an hour long. I can't make things that are too long on YouTube because of retention, but the training that I have linked down in the description goes into super great detail about everything from our story to the system to what it is that we do today. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into today's video. And first, I want to talk about what most creators think making money on YouTube looks like. So most creators today, and this is funny because I actually saw that a lot of kids want to be YouTubers. Like I forget exactly where I saw this report, or it was like some kind of like a study, or not a census, but something like that, where a survey where a lot of kids in school were asked, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And it used to be astronauts, it used to be firefighters or policemen, but now it's YouTubers, which I think is hilarious that kids today want to be YouTubers. My daughter Annabelle actually started a YouTube channel just as like a project. It's not that she wants to be a YouTuber. Haley's just very serious about forcing her to be an entrepreneur. No, I'm just kidding. But realistically, like a lot of people want to be creators today. It's just the thing. A lot of people want to make money from YouTube, but they think that it's AdSense. They think that it's sponsorships, that it's brand deals. And I can totally understand why, because we did that too. For like 2 years, most and probably more of that, but for 2 solid straight years, like all of our income came from sponsorships. Like I said, Top Ramen, Adidas, Huggies, Parents Magazine, and more. Like we have so much free stuff laying around the house that we were also paid for that I've honestly lost count. And sometimes I don't even remember where we got things from. And so while that can work, while you can make that a reality, there's still a huge problem with it. One thing that we learned with brand deals and sponsorships is that if you are not trying to forge these huge, extravagant agreements with brands, okay, where they are paying you a really big amount every single month and you're locked in for like 12 months, you're basically starting over from zero every single month. Okay, you don't have any deals that are signed yet. You don't have any guaranteed revenue. You're hoping that your next video doesn't bomb, so you have enough views to be able to justify some type of an RPM to the brand that you want to be able to work with. Once COVID hit and brands started just pulling back on their influencer marketing budgets, we basically dropped to zero. And so we realized that YouTube itself is a terrible business model. It's an incredible platform if you just treat it like a traffic engine, okay? But if you're sitting there and you're relying on the view count to justify someone else paying you, or to justify YouTube paying you, like YouTube can demonetize you at any time, right? Like on my personal channel, which is where I talk about firearms, if I say something the wrong way, or if I mention the wrong thing, or if I show the wrong thing on screen in the wrong way, YouTube can immediately demonetize that video. And if that happens too often, like that AdSense revenue just kind of goes away. So I already knew this going into that, so it's not that big of a deal. But back then, when I was just starting, or when Haley and I were really making YouTube our full-time thing, we were directly trying to monetize the platform. And that's the wrong way to go about it. Okay. Instead, what you should be doing, and that's going to be kind of the whole premise of this video, is that you should be using YouTube to send people to something that is within your control, to a business that you own. Now, once we were able to figure out that, hey, I know this sounds so novel, right? Like, I mean, I'm being sarcastic because everybody kind of today knows that you should be taking people off of YouTube. That is the thing now, right? And if you're not doing that, then you really need to watch this video. But back then, having like an email list wasn't really a thing. You had an email list maybe to let people know that your blog post went out or that you have like a new video that dropped, but you wouldn't use that for a business. But once you make that mental adjustment that YouTube is kind of just the traffic driver, like video isn't just a video, right? It's actually a door that people would like physically open to be able to come into your business. So the first thing that I would say here is like you need to make that shift. But the second thing that you need to do immediately after that is you need to start building this audience that you own. Now, I say build an audience that you own, but in layman's terms or normal terms or in like guru terms, you just need to collect emails. Okay. Like at the end of the day, people get so mad about collecting emails and I don't know why people are so offended when it's like, put your email in for this free thing or put your email in for this training. It's like, this is how businesses are ran. Okay. You go to Harbor Freight, they're like, hey, what's your email? You go to Dick's Sporting Goods, hey, do you have a phone number or email with us? It's the same exact thing with your YouTube channel. Okay. So your first step in this system that I'm about to teach you guys is not to actually sell anything. If someone watches your video and then dips out, like they're probably gone forever. That's just how it is. For years, like we were basically renting our entire audience from the algorithm. Like we were paying our time with putting up videos and we get people that come by. But just like with ads, like if we stopped posting, the money would stop flowing. Okay. Like that's literally how it works. It's like rented space. But once we started building an audience that we own, once we started collecting emails, that's when everything changed. Now, instead of hoping that someone sees our video, we can make sure that they see the next one. We can continue a conversation. We can build off of a specific point. We can obviously send more value. We can answer questions and we can promote the things that we want to promote when people are ready to be able to take the next step. And so that's why the first thing that we do, like the first step in the actual funnel, and I hate using the word funnel because people are like so triggered and turned off by the word funnel. If you want to call it a product ladder, you can call it a product ladder. If you want to call it a flywheel, you can call it a flywheel. Like call it whatever you want. At the end of the day, people are just taking steps through your business and they're just clicking on different pages or they're interacting with different pieces of content. Okay, that's all it is. It doesn't matter if it's a funnel, a flywheel. People try to make up words to just like get around the fact that you're being marketed. Okay, you are being marketed at all times, and that's just how it is. So the first thing that we offer people is we will always give them something free, but it's something free that actually helps. It's not just a basic checklist. It's something that's more real than that. We want to do like a training, a mini course, a workshop, because if you can solve an actual real problem with somebody, they start to think if this is something that helped me and it was free, then what would something that paid look like, right? And that's how the funnel begins. Now, for us, one of the best things that we had for a very long time was Haley had like a subscriber explosion guide, which it wasn't just a one sheeter. This one was more extensive. It was probably like 9 pages or so, but it was more intense than like a typical guide. Something that worked even better for us recently was our 7-day YouTubers guide. And so this guide was like 30 pages and it actually went with a video that was associated to it. And so there's way more work for them to be able to do. There was way more content and value for them to be able to drive through. Now, people had to work for it. Like they got this free thing and it wasn't just going to solve the problem immediately for them. They had to actually interact with this freebie. And part of having that interaction makes it to where it feels more connected. It feels like there's more value and people actually really enjoy all of the guides that we put out. Because like for us, and really for me specifically, like I don't like it when you are expecting something and it underdelivers, right? Like our whole business promise and kind of like my whole business promise to life. I joke with Haley that this is my promise in marriage was that I'm going to undersell and overdeliver, right? Like that's kind of like my mentality. And that's the mentality that I want to be able to have with the first step in our funnel, which is that initial freebie. Now, after the initial freebie though, you need to really start pouring it on. And so that's where you need to have a deeper or like a more meaningful or more engaged free experience for somebody. You don't always need like a really light freebie and then one that's a little bit more impactful. This is just what we happen to do because we want to give people options. Some people go straight to the thing that's more deep and impactful and takes a lot more work, and some people never do that one and they kind of skip to step 3. Sometimes when people come and they visit you for the first time, they don't want to commit to a challenge. They just want something that's easier, or maybe they're more of a beginner and you want to give them more of a beginner experience. Either way, we know that it takes like 7 to 9 touch points for somebody to be able to actually want to spend money with you. That translates to like 5 or 8 hours for somebody to actually spend money with you. So we like to give people options when it comes to freebies. And like we've had multiple step 1 or like stage 1 freebies, right? We've gone through a lot of different things. We've had like niche guides, we've had like first time video guides, we've had a lot of different things. But the second step, the deeper experience, is something that takes up a little bit more time. Okay, so once somebody's in that ecosystem, you can give them that next step to go deeper with you. And so that's actually what we do, is that if you join one of the free ones, like one of the lighter options that we have, it will eventually pitch you on something that's more intense. Okay, so this is where most people actually stop too early, is that they'll post videos, they'll collect the emails, and then they'll either not sell anything or they will actually try to sell something. But again, I think that it takes a longer time to be able to build trust, which is why I have that additional bonus step that's in there. So that might look like things like a workshop, right? It could be a masterclass, it could be a live training, it could be a multi-day challenge. For us, we have 2 options. And so one of them that we did for a really long time was our 5-day integrated life challenge. So the integrated life challenge was really cool because what we did was we actually, instead of just showing people how to do YouTube, we showed how to build an integrated life via YouTube. Okay. And so basically it was like a 20 to 30-minute video every day for 5 days. An email came out with it. There's a separate page for every single one. We had trainings and documents that supported each day of the challenge. And so it was much more intense. It's something that took up more time that people really liked. We've also done 70 challenges in a similar fashion. We've also done the challenges live. We have a decent amount of experience doing this deeper free type of opt-in. We also have an hour-long masterclass, and Haley's masterclass is like 2 hours long. Mine's an hour long, so if you guys don't want to sit around for 2 hours, you can go watch mine. It's down in the description below. I'll link Haley's too, so you can check it out. But these 2 freebies are our most popular currently, and they're also some of the biggest conversion mechanisms that we have. And the reason why they convert so well is because we're not just giving away more information. Like we're not just overloading people with things to be able to do. We're actually helping people to take action. I remember one of the best things that a student said to us to basically confirm our thoughts on one of our freebies was that they talked about a specific portion of it called the freedom number. And so the freedom number is what we believe you should be trying to achieve if you want to have total freedom from, having a boss, or financial freedom, location freedom, time freedom. What is that freedom number? How much does it take for you to be able to make every single month? Because that's the basis for your strategy. Multiple students have come back and said, hey, the reason I'm here is because the freedom number resonated with me so much. Like the freedom number meant so much to me. And that was one specific day in one of our challenges. And so we know that we're helping people. Like we get that feedback, and it's something that you need to do if you want somebody to be able to get that next step. Because when somebody gets a small win from you, they don't see you as just like a creator. They start seeing you as a resource. They start seeing you as an expert, and they see you as somebody that can actually help them solve their problem. And sometimes solving the problem is a little bit too serious. Like we get a lot of emails, especially Haley. Haley gets them way more than I do. I mean, I still get them on my Firearms channel, but Haley's channel gets a ton of emails where people don't just take her from like an expert or like a resource, but they step up to her being like a friend almost, which is cool. Like I appreciate people being nice and reaching out and doing things, but sometimes it does cross the line a little bit. But that's how much you need to give value to people. It's not just like, what else can this person teach me? It's more like, how can this person be a part of my life? I know it sounds really weird, but that's how you get people to want to start actually paying you for your products. So the third step in this ladder is the first paid product that you're going to put out. Now, like I said, once somebody's made that weird transition to being your friend, I'm just kidding, but realistically, once people have gotten value from you 4, 5, 6 times, and this includes content, right? This isn't just freebies. You don't need 6 freebies. This includes content. The next step in the ladder is usually your first paid product. Now, you don't have to jump immediately up to a $10,000 product. You can start lower and you can work your way up. And that's what we did. So for us, our first paid product was actually our $297 course. And That was the original YouTubepreneur. People were basically asking Haley how she does this, how does she make money on YouTube? And that was when she was on her original motherhood channel. Then she made her business channel and started to make it more official. And that was the seed that we planted to be able to sell this $297 course. I actually took a course to learn how to do Amazon FBA and sell our baby car seat covers. And so seeing that course be made, or taking that course, actually showed us what we could do with our course. We also invested in coaches. Obviously, we invested in other programs to be able to learn how to do everything. And so we took that and we took all of Haley's personal teachings and put that into a course. And what was cool was, at the time, teaching people how to do YouTube, or it coming from an actual creator that lived this life, was actually more rare. Creators at the time weren't really thinking about info products. So we were some of the first people to actually jump onto the info product train in doing courses, especially in the mom niche. I don't think there's anybody, and still really anybody as much, doing it in Haley's motherhood homeschooling type niche. And it did so well, and Haley obviously connected really well with her audience, that we ended up doing about $40,000 in our first launch, which completely caught us off guard. I felt like it was crazy. Haley wouldn't talk to me during the whole launch day. She didn't want to hear anything that I had to say. She thought it was going to completely flop. That's just, I don't know, the way that she likes to think. And it was a huge blessing to us. And it eventually paved the way for us doing all this. The thing is that the money that we made from that obviously was very important, right? It's what helped us to get out of doing sponsorships full time. But the real value came from what this product had actually created. People got results. People had success with our program. People liked our program. They wanted to talk about it. They wanted to share it with other people. We started collecting testimonials. We started collecting success stories. We had proof that Haley's system was something that actually worked. So it essentially validated us as experts. Before, we were just creators, right? We were just people that vlogged. We just talked about Home Chef and talked about our day and what we were doing. But doing this and proving this to people and selling this validated us as experts. Okay. So once people were paying for the solution and they were getting results, something else changed. Okay. Something that we didn't exactly expect. The purpose of the first paid product isn't necessarily for you to build your entire business off of that thing. Okay. You're supposed to try to get proof. You're supposed to get testimonials, and you're supposed to get like an injection of cash from this first step. Now, on the customer side, yes, it is like an escalation of money, right? Like you just slowly work your way up and spending more money with somebody until you reach the top. That's the entire point of, doing like a product ladder or a flywheel or a funnel, is you get them to ascend, essentially. But on the business side, what this is doing is this is proving your worth. It's going to motivate you, and it's going to start to build your business more. So when you're thinking about building your first digital product, right, your first course, the simplest way to be able to approach this is that you start with a specific problem that you already know how to solve, and you build something that's going to walk people through that process step by step. Okay, that's what a vast majority of our students do for their first time product or for the first time course, is they're solving one specific problem. They're not tackling 8 different things like we do in our program YouTubepreneur, right? Like in our full program, we talk about the business, we talk about the offers, but for first-time digital product sellers, you want to one specific thing. And I don't mean one specific thing like how to tie your shoe. I just mean like tackle one problem that a mom might have, or tackle one problem that a dad might have, or that's somebody in fitness might have. Maybe it's literally just lose weight. It's not lose weight, get fit, get mentally healthy and physically healthy. It's just one specific thing. So like your first course doesn't need to be super complicated. Most successful first digital products are smaller courses, or even potentially workshops, or like even paid challenges, somewhere between like $100 and $500. And the goal again is to get really quick results for somebody, because once somebody experiences a small one with you, they're going to want to spend more with you. They're going to want to know what the next step, what is the next natural progression for me to be able to take. As we were making money and talking about this, and Haley's talking about the launch, we were talking about this person enrolled, look at all these people. We've had so many people enrolled. What a blessing. Like, we're so grateful, like thankful to God and thankful for all of you for everything that you guys have done. Other influencers, like even bigger than Haley, started coming to us and asking, what is this? How are you making this money? How are you quitting brand deals? How are you quitting sponsorships? How are you no longer having to link everything in an affiliate link? How does this work? And so what this ended up doing was this eventually led to the next step in the ladder here. And that's when we get into step 4, which is the full transformation. Okay, the fully transformative program, the thing that's actually going to change not just their lives, but also yours. This is where you start to become a true business. Now, specifically for us, again, when we were selling YouTubepreneur and people were learning about growing on YouTube and, brand deal sponsorships, AdSense, how to set it up, how to reach out to brands and how to work that portion of YouTube, people were also wanted two things. One is they wanted help implementing that. They wanted to know how to make that happen, but they also wanted to know how to do what we did. Like the people who grew their channels quickly in YouTubepreneur eventually wanted to get to where the point that we were at, and they wanted to take their information and monetize that as well in their own fashion. And so it kind of just naturally progressed in that way. They wanted to achieve a much bigger transformation. They were trying to not just like learn one little step of the whole thing. Once they got that result, they wanted to move up into the next step almost immediately, and they wanted to ascend almost immediately into what would be like a core program. Now, initially for us, this was YouTubepreneur to a thing that we called Influencer Course Accelerator. Now, ICA was like the end all be all massive program. And we talked about everything in ICA. We talked about YouTube. We talked about short form. We talked about DMing, Instagram, Facebook. We touched on ads. We touched on hiring. Everything was covered in ICA. It was absolutely massive. Instead of just solve a specific problem, we had to have a complete system. Okay. We had to have everything that was in there. And that's what we really thought at the time. You don't have to do that. Okay. What you really just need to do is you need to have a full roadmap. You need to have something that's step by step. You need to have support for when people get stuck. You need to have feedback, and you need to have a community of people that are working towards the same goal. Okay, you need to have something that is bigger than just yourself as your main flagship core program. If you want to get up to this point, if you're cool selling $97 to $497, like that's totally fine. But if you want to get up into the higher tier, like mid-ticket, high-ticket type of selling, you need to have something much bigger. So I just want to make a quick note here. You guys shouldn't make a core program just because somebody says you should. So you shouldn't sell something high ticket and for $8, $10, $15,000 just because you say that you should. Our students got success. Everybody had like amazing results. But for us personally, like internally as a family, it was tough. It was hard having that expansive of a program on the family, which is why we adjusted it and changed the strategy to be just YouTubepreneur. We still have a core coaching program that is called YouTubepreneur, and it still talks about everything that you need to be able to know, but we just focus on YouTube. Okay, so we still talk about offers, we still talk about pricing and sales and creating your products, how to host them. We still talk about like how to be able to build communities, how to hire people. It's just instead of talking about short form and DMing and ads, we got rid of all that and we focus now just on YouTube. So once we built this version of YouTubepreneur, this is where everything changed. Okay, once we started building the ICA/YouTubepreneur combo, this is when you stop thinking like a creator. You stop thinking like, hey, how do I get more views? How do I continue to try to grow my channel? How do I continue to get likes and subs? Like you still want to do those things. You still want growth. Like if you're not growing, you're dying. You still want to continue growing, right? You still want those numbers, but you don't need as much. Once you get people success and you get people these huge complete transformations, YouTube is now just more of a traffic source. Okay. And it's just one aspect of the business. Now you have YouTube, then you have your email, then you have referrals and word of mouth. You can have other people doing joint ventures with your program. There's a lot more that happens, and suddenly views matter a lot less. Even at step 3, with a smaller digital product like $97 to $497, you still need a ton of volume. Okay, you still need a lot of sales. But with a full scale, full transformation, fully transformative program, making somebody completely change their life and do a 180 on it, like you don't need hundreds of thousands of views. You just need to reach the right people. And the whole point of this is that if you solve a meaningful enough like problem, you can charge more for it. It has to be something that's worth it. Like you can't just say like, I'm going to charge $10,000 to teach you how to sew. You could sell something for $10,000 that teaches somebody how to be able to run their dressmaking business. The transformation needs to be something that creates far more value than what it is that you're charging in order for somebody to want to pay a high ticket price. But here's the thing, like I don't want you guys to think because I mentioned ICA or I mentioned YouTubepreneur that you have to do something that's within business. This niche can be anything. Okay, we have students that do this in fitness, they do it in homeschooling, they do it in gardening, they do it in relationships, they do it in like faith-based content. The transformation changes depending upon who it is that you serve, but the structure itself stays the same. Okay, YouTube brings in the audience. The $4.97, $5.97 programs, those still build trust with people. They get people interested in who you are and what it is that you're doing. But the final step in that final program is kind of like the end all be all if you want to get more off of YouTube. You don't have to take that step, right? But if it is something where you don't want to be as dependent on YouTube, you can sell a higher ticket digital product. Now, honestly, for most creators, this is where the ladder stops. And that's perfectly fine. You don't have to go any more past that. But there is something that is further above this, that goes one more layer above this, which is more direct feedback. I would call it like I guess it would be like step 5. It's kind of like just a more direct, higher level mastermind. Some people like to call them like inner circles or masterminds, cohorts or something, where you get people together that have already had results, okay? And they're looking to take things to the next level. They want more direct help. They want more feedback, more speed, more access. They want direct access to you. They're looking at their business and helping them make decisions, helping them see things that they can't see on a more one-to-one level. That's the final step in the ladder. So what's interesting is that the people who want to jump in at this level, right? The people who want to actually get in on this, and we have a program that's above YouTubepreneur. We don't really like to talk about it as much. You know, it is a thing that is very high touch point. It is a lot of work. And that's why I say a lot of people, you don't have to go this far. You don't have to get up to this point. It's something that not everybody needs. When people start getting a ton of success in your core program, obviously people want more. Not everybody does, but a lot of people want to scale that. They want to figure out what is next. What can I do after this? That's like the 1% of people that will spend 5 or 10x of whatever your actual core program is. Over time, the idea with this product funnel system is that people who get the most value will naturally continue to move deeper or higher up into your funnel, and they continue to spend money with you. And so when you step back, it's really just a line, okay? Just like one line that takes you upwards. YouTube, as you can see quickly, isn't really the business, right? It's literally just a marketing tool. And you look at the whole thing, YouTube is really just down here at the bottom, but as you continue to go up, like YouTube is not feeding people into these top areas anymore, right? YouTube is just a huge traffic flow that goes into the bottom of the funnel. And then the funnel itself is the business. The funnel itself is how you can scale. The funnel itself is how you build freedom, because if you don't have people that are ascending, then you're not going to have the amount of income or revenue that you need to be able to live wherever you want, do whatever you want, have whatever hobbies you want. At the same time, YouTube is everything. Okay. And I know I sound very annoying, but if the content doesn't bring in the right people to those freebies, none of the rest of the funnel matters. Okay. So what I'm trying to say here is that everything matters within this system. You need to have the free value that builds trust. You need to have a first product that's going to help them, buy into you and your process. You need to have something that's going to help them achieve a full transformation that's there. And then obviously optionally, you can have something that's even above that. But the thing is that if you can get that initial flow of views and traffic, that traffic starts to compound over time, and you all of a sudden no longer have to use YouTube to go viral. You can use YouTube as a lead generation source, which brings me back to what I said in the beginning, where I said, this video that's here brought in $27,000 in new revenue, but not from YouTube. I hope that this now makes sense, because again, it wasn't ads, it wasn't sponsorship, it wasn't brand deals. It came from the system that's behind the channel. Okay, so if you guys want to know more about all the different stuff that we have, I'll actually link everything down in the description below. I'll try to put everything that we can in there so you guys can see what we do. If you guys are interested in anything that we actually do offer, just know a lot of the stuff might not be updated. So there might be stuff that isn't currently up to date, but I will put down there like my masterclass, Haley's masterclass, our challenge, any of our freebies that we also have, so you guys can go through and check them out and see what these funnels actually look like. So if this got you guys value, I hope it did. Be sure to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, leave a comment down below if you guys have any questions, and I will see you guys in the next one.